All right, so you should be in your document now. Feel free to follow along with a calculator if you like. I have it open here just for our reference. We want to go from 1 day, which is one rotation of the Earth, is when sunrise to sunrise is a day. Just in case you were confused, 1 month is actually based on a cycle of the moon, and 1 year is how long it takes the Earth to go all the way around them. So all of our physical experiences in our day-to-day lives is how we made our units of time. Okay, so we are trying to get to seconds. So this is where it's really important. You don't want to have to be able to go into a complicated experiment and be converting all your units the entire way through. So what you want to be able to do is keep track of what you did along the way, because when you go and submit some work for a lab or whatever, I need to be able to see what your thinking was instead of you just going into Google and typing it in. If you convert the wrong thing, you're going to get a bad number, and I'm not going to be able to help you and tell you how. So this is why I know you guys all hate showing your work, but this is the reason why. So we're going to try to get from days bigger to seconds smaller. So we want to take 1 day, and we're going to throw this on top. All of this is going to be done in fractions. So this will be a little fun review for your denomination and numerator, multiplication, addition, and all that stuff. Well, in chemistry, you're going to be using a lot of these fractions, and you'll see why. So 1 day over a fraction, anytime you have 1 over 1, it's still that same number. So 1 day is just 1 day written this way. Now we want to go to a smaller unit. So what's the next smaller unit from day? It's hours. So what we want to use is that cross multiply cancel trick you guys use in other classes. So we're going to put the days on the bottom, and we want to be lazy. So we want as many ones in the bottom if we can as possible. So I'm going to put the 1 on the bottom here, and that's going to cancel out our days. So throughout this activity, you can do it digitally, you can do it on paper. You should be writing this with your pencil and kind of crossing them out as you cancel. You're going to specifically be dividing 1 day by 1 day, so that gets rid of the days. If there were more than 1 day up top, you wouldn't cancel all of them. You're just going to do 1 to 1. So that's where you want to keep track of these little X's as you go so you don't get lost. All right. So then we want to go to hours, we just said. So the next smaller unit in days is hours. We ask ourselves, 1 divided by 1 is 1. So 1 day is made up of 24 hours. So this is still equal to 1, so we can add this in. Now I've added hours, so I have to get rid of hours. So we're going to use that cross multiply trick we were just talking about, and we're going to put hours in the bottom. And again, I'm going to be lazy, so I want 1 hour in the bottom so I don't have to do crazy math later. We're going to cross out our hours. Now they're gone. We're still trying to go smaller, so what's the next unit in time is minutes. How many minutes are in an hour is 60. So this is why we use time, because hopefully you know 60 minutes make an hour. And we're going to repeat this process. So we're going to divide the next one by 1 minute, which will help us cancel out our minutes. And now how many seconds make up a minute? That's 60. So what I want you to notice here, I didn't put my unit, so you got to make sure you put all your units, keep track of what you're doing, is we've canceled the days, we've canceled the hours, we've canceled the minutes. All we're left with is seconds. So we're where we want to be. So now our answer should be in seconds. And because we were lazy and had all these ones in the bottom here, it's going to multiply out to 1. So whenever you do multiplication of fractions, you multiply the bottom numbers all by themselves, and you multiply the top numbers all by themselves. So 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. So our answer is over 1. I'm just going to leave it off. So all we need to do is multiply these numbers on top. Now, if we weren't able to keep all the nice numbers as 1s in the bottom, you might actually have to divide out the fraction to get your final answer. But for now, this is going to be 24 times 60 times 60. And what that lets you do is go from 1 hour is equal to 86,400 seconds. And then, so if this was our answer key, we would take this answer with our unit. We want to make sure we include our unit and put it in there, and that would be our answer. Now, this is already solved on your worksheet for you. There is actually a practice. Let me just click save real quick here. On your worksheet. So what I want you to do there is go do this right now. Try to do it by yourself. Try to go the other direction. Go from 1 year. And you're going to do it the long way. And I was already nice and left all the days and hours. On the next practice questions, you're going to do this, which I recommend maybe working with a partner or two if you can. You're not going to have that. There's just going to be question marks, and you're going to have to figure out how to do the math. Okay, so I made it easy for the first practice one. The other thing I want you to notice here is I said 1 second is 1/24th of 1/60th of 1/60th. You can see those numbers right here. 24 over 1, 60 over 1, and 60 over 1 is the same thing. They're just flipped. Whenever you're doing these calculations, you might want to put the day on the bottom and the day on the top over here, and then it would be 1 day, right? Or 1 hour is 1/24th of a day. In order to make this a 1 divided by 1, we had to include 24 hours. So if you're not following what I'm talking about, come pop over to the nest, and I will see you there.